is Evan Congold, and sorry I couldn't get to the phone right now, but I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Bye.
Well, we're not going to leave a tone, but welcome everybody to Generation Viewpoint. And today is a fantabulous day. This is Freedom Convold, of course, and that was me trying to call my partner, Evan Convold, to get him on the line so we could do a great podcast, and he's not available. So we're going to go on because today is an exciting day. We have guests, and we have guests that have been here before. In fact, there's two guests here. One of them has been on 3 times, which is a Generation Viewpoint record. So say hello, everybody, to Dave and Joe Deitzer. Welcome, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome.
Awesome. So good to see you guys here. And yesterday, I was going about my day, and I got this phone call. And for everybody who is new to Generation Viewpoint and hasn't heard some old episodes, Dave and Joe have been on a Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure type thing. It's been fantastic, and we're going to get into that. And I got this phone call from Joe, and he's like, hey, we're going to be in town for like 2 days, and what's going on? And it was awesome because I was just telling him when my phone rang, I was wondering what you were calling for, if you're trying to hide a body. Hey, pause, everybody. Our partner is calling in. Hang on. Evan, is that you?
It is me.
Ev, welcome to the podcast. We're
You're
recording.
on the air.
Oh, hey.
Say hello to everybody.
Hello.
Hey, it's so good to have you here, Ev. And we recorded your message that you weren't available, and so now we're glad that you are available. So, but awesome. Well, I was just telling everybody in our community that Dave and Joe are here, and they had called and said they were passing through. And I was wondering when they called yesterday on what was going on and what they needed. I thought maybe Joe needed to hide a body or something like that, because why else would he call me? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, when I think about it, I think you might be the first person I call if I ever needed to hide a body.
You know what? I want to hug you right now just for that. So, because I want to be that guy. Hello? Got a body. What do I do? You know? And you know that I'm going to pretend to have all the answers, too, when you ask that question. So it's going to be great.
For sure.
So.
I don't know how I feel about this because I'm pretty sure the body would be me.
Don't worry. We'll take care of you. Yeah. They call me the wolf. That's
I
it.
need a cremation under the radar.
That's awesome. So this is fantastic. So I want to jump right into this because we don't have all the time, all kinds of time, and I just want to get right in. So for everybody who didn't know, Dave and Joe are out on the Appalachian Trail. Started on April 1st. Is that correct, guys?
4th.
April 4th.
April 4th,
Yeah.
you started on a trail. And why don't you give us an update of how your adventure is going? Where are you? Are you a quarter of the way through, halfway, third way? Where are you right now?
We're halfway through the Appalachian Trail now. I mean, probably like 10 miles before halfway.
Okay,
but,
halfway.
I mean, the metaphorical halfway is Harper's Ferry, Virginia, once
Yeah.
you get out of the long stretch of Virginia, because it's about a quarter of the trail in
Okay.
that one state. And, so we're celebrating halfway.
That's fantastic. And so how many miles is that you guys have walked now together?
1,063 miles.
1,063 miles. Evan, 1,063 miles.
That's insane.
I told my daughter that the other day, and she told me that I could have walked from my house to her house in Kansas City.
Oh, my word. That really puts it in perspective, doesn't it? I guess you don't realize how far that is.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow. So I have all kinds of questions. So before I get into my questions, okay, and what I want to know and what I've been thinking about since you called me yesterday, let me ask you, or open it up for you guys. Before I start peppering you, is there anything that you want to share? Because I want to make sure that there's time for that. That right now we have a great community of people who've been following you on your blog posts, have been following on the podcast and things like that. Is there anything that you guys want to share that you thought was important that you think people would want to know?
I don't know. Nothing in particularly. Maybe we smell all the time.
Okay. All right. You have an aroma?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's harder than we thought.
Okay.
But it's very rewarding at the same time.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
I think we've all in all enjoyed our trip so far up to this point, and we're just getting ready for the next leg and excited.
Awesome. Very good. All right.
I would agree with that.
You concur?
I concur.
All right. Well, I'm going to jump in and just start firing. So the first thing that I want to know is you have been out on the trail for 2 months, right? And you've stopped here and there for some real food, let's call it, a Five Guys or a Burger King or something like that.
Right.
But right now for 2 days you're in civilization, right?
Yeah.
Can I ask, is there anything that stands out to you when you're here that you're like, wow, this is so different? Like, it's really different. But is there only one particular thing that really stands out? Like, it's noisy, it's this, it's fast, it's whatever.
Yeah, I would say that everybody's really uptight.
Everybody's really uptight.
And everyone's in a rush.
Okay.
Yeah, we're really relaxed right now. I mean, we basically spend our day looking for roots and stones that might trip us. Listening to some music. Our conversation will be drawn out over a long period of time where I might ask Joe a question and he might be thinking about it for 5 minutes and respond to me.
Wow.
And in a thoughtful way. And we're not like, hey, hurry up with the question, and we would never think of tailing anybody anymore. I mean, I stopped at my sister's last week, and she picked us up, and she tailed everybody. I was never so scared in my life.
That's awesome. Evan, that's kind of how your summer's going too, right? Just really quiet and slow, right? Hanging out with all those kids?
No, not at all.
He's only hanging out with like 300 to 500 kids at a time over there.
Yeah.
So, years ago, there was a guy from a farm in Idaho, and he came out here, and we had a meeting because I work in produce.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so what's the biggest difference that you recognize from Idaho to Philadelphia? We were in the city at the time. And he says, you guys are just way too fast. And my response was, how do you guys get anything done if you're not?
They don't. We've been in the South for a very long time, and it's every time you talk to someone, you say hi and exchange pleasantries, and in the Northeast, you walk away after that.
Yeah.
And they'll stand there and just stand there for a while, and you're like, is he going to say something? And then you wait, and then they start to tell a story.
Yeah.
And the story is usually long.
Yeah.
And there's pauses in between where you think you can exit, but no, there's still more story.
There's more. That's pretty neat, though.
Yeah.
That sounds like so based on that observation, when you're done on your hike, do you think that you could, or I guess the question is would, want to ease back into how things are done here, or you think you're going to become Southerners where things are a little slower paced? That's a great question.
I like the Northeast. I like the fast pace.
Okay.
So,
all right.
And it's very important to me that people get sarcasm, and people don't get sarcasm in the South or the Midwest.
You must be really lost then.
Yes. You should have seen the weird stares he was getting at some shelters talking to these Midwest people or Southerners.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So, all right, let me ask you the next question then. So you prepared to go on this hike. You prepared in your mind and a little physically in your gear. What's one thing that you were totally unprepared for once you got on the trail? You're like, wow, didn't prepare for this one. Anything like that?
I don't know. It's a lot of little things that are just tweaking your gear, tweaking your your mindset to getting into the rhythm of just life outdoors. That's basically I think the part of this that's the hardest for any normal person to do is the fact of like living outside and not living like you have up to this point in life.
Okay.
And I don't know, just it was difficult to get up, walk every day, set up camp, and just organizing your pack in a certain way where it's easier to get things, just little things like that get really frustrating.
Okay. Interesting.
For me, it was it was physically hard. I mean, I basically had a desk job until 4 days before I left.
Yeah.
And then then you have 40 pounds on your back and you have to walk up mountains. So it's like high intensity. It's high intensity interval training.
Yeah.
For 12 hours a day.
Amazing.
And so
with no shower at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No recuperation, huh?
Yeah, you don't get to shower or anything like that. And so the second part would be you're uncomfortable most of the time.
Okay.
You're if you're an older man like me, you've sweat through your clothes 7 times during one day.
Yeah.
And so you've been salty and sweaty and everything all day.
Yeah.
You set your shirt out to dry at night, and it's cooler at night, so it doesn't dry. It gets more dew on it.
Oh no.
So in the morning, you put a wet shirt back on.
Yeah.
And you start out
Yeah.
with the same shirt you had on yesterday.
That's awesome. Not so awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds really uncomfortable. Is what it sounds like.
And that exact scenario goes on for all the other items of clothing you might have on.
Oh,
so
my
just
word.
use your imagination.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, we talk a lot about these, difficult things we go through, but
Yeah.
at the same time, there's the attraction is the simplicity to life that you gain from living outside.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is on your back, everything you carry, and so everything you feel, and so it's literally like only the most necessary things you bring.
Yeah.
And for a week, you can live off what you carry on your back.
Right.
So it's 40 pounds. You have your house in there. You have your food. You have your toothbrush. Everything that you need. And you think about your house, and your basement might be filled with so much stuff that you don't need or never even look at on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But then you're out there on your own with just what's on your back, and you're
That's
absolutely fine.
Very minimalist, right?
Yeah.
You have what's important, and you don't have what's not.
Right.
Right. That's great. Is there anything that while you're out there that you thought would be harder, and you were surprised that this really isn't a big deal, whether it's being away or whatever it might be, something that you were concerned with that you're like, I guess I was over concerned about that. Or is that such a thing when you go out on the Appalachian Trail?
I don't know. Maybe resupply was
a little bit easier.
Yeah. There's kind of like since so many more people are doing the trail now, there's hostels that help you resupply, and there's getting rides into town have been easy.
Okay.
People are used to hikers hitchhiking.
Yeah.
So the one thing I found out is I think we said it in one of our blogs. I the first time I stuck my thumb out at 51 years old was the first time I hitchhiked, and the first car pulled over, and I finally found something I was good at.
That's amazing. I love it. Now you got to go cross country, right?
Well, that might be the next adventure, but
yeah. You got the magic thumb. There was actually some people hitchhiking last week, sitting at the down at the end of the town here by the ramp to get on 81.
Yeah.
A guy and a lady and their dog sitting there with their sign, and I made the loop and got by 81, and there's another couple sitting there. And I'm like, man, what's going on? I haven't seen this around here in a long time, you know? So it's kind of funny. But all right, so I want to take you to thinking on your trail hike, okay? And I'm sure you had some tough moments. I mean, this isn't something easy. This is really a tough thing. So what's a moment where you guys were at that was it was tough? Like it's a moment that sticks out in your mind as, man, that must have been like it was a crossroads or just a really hard moment for you, either the same moment for both of you or a different moment. Is there a moment that stands out that was just a really, what am I doing right now and why am I doing this moment? Did you have one of those?
I think for both of us probably was the day we split up, because we hiked probably 800 miles together at that point. And it was the second time my dad was off for a long period of time because of his shin splints, if you read our blog. But then he got back on the trail, and he wasn't really doing that much better. And he didn't know if his shin was going to get worse or get better. And we just started we didn't really have, a big talk about it. We just he started making plans for me to go on by myself. And, I left, and then the stuff that went through my head that day was not fun. Why am I out here? Why am I doing this?
Yeah. What did that feel like, Dave, when you guys came to that decision, and you saw him walk up the trail ahead of you, and you were behind? What was going through your mind at that time?
That was a very emotional, meaningful moment.
Yeah.
It was at exactly mile 807. I remember, and watching him go on it was more meaningful than us just splitting up on the hike. It was more like, I don't know, a bigger moment. I don't really know how to explain it. A bigger moment of, me not being able to participate as fully as I wanted to.
Wow.
In Joe's adventure, that will be his whole life.
Yeah.
And, that time kind of passing.
So it was more than a moment of a walk.
Yeah,
it was
it was
more of
not
a
like-
life moment.
Right, because I
Yeah.
did not. I was in a lot of pain trying to walk,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know if I was going to get better or not better, or we were ever going to meet up again.
Yeah. Oh my.
And we walked that way for about 200 miles, and I didn't enjoy it at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That shows the bond that you have. I feel that a little bit right now why Evan left me for a month. It's a little different because I'm not in pain. But Evan, I miss you, son. So now let's flip it over here, okay?
Mhm.
I'm sure that you have seen some miraculous things. Just skylines, sunrises, sets, things like that, victories. What is one moment that stands out for the both of you that was just like the mountaintop experience moment? Like, this is amazing. Like, you wanted to sing. Can you think of a moment that was just blew your mind? Like, wow.
Yeah, I could think of a moment. It was after Joe and I had split up, and I had gotten up real early, like before sunrise, and hiked from the shelter I was staying at to the top of a mountain, and it was Father's Day.
Oh.
And it was an outstanding sunrise. And I took a picture of it, and I stood there, and I just said the words out loud. All of creation declares your glory.
Wow.
And I just got really emotional,
Yeah.
and just continued to exist in that moment for a while as I walked down the trail.
That's
So,
amazing. That's awesome. Joe, how about you?
Actually, we kind of talked about this when we split up. I actually kind of had a moment like that too. I was walking, and they were calling for thunderstorms that day,
Mm-hmm.
and I started off from a wayside in the Shenandoah Mountains. A wayside is like a small restaurant along the Shenandoahs that you can go to and get something to eat,
Mm-hmm.
and that was nice. But then I was walking, and it started to rain, and the thunderstorm just appeared out of nowhere all of a sudden, and so I just took my shirt off and put it in my bag, and just got wet, because you're wet either way when it's raining, because you're either sweating through all your clothes or just letting the rain hit you. So I'm like, I'm just gonna take my shirt off, and I don't know. Ever since I was a kid, I loved being in the rain.
Yeah.
And the wind was blowing, the thunder was cracking, and it was just coming down in sheets. And I just started like yelling at the top of my lungs, like just wolf cries
In the middle of the woods,
in the
just
middle of the
yelling.
woods, yeah, just by myself.
Very primal.
And
I
then-
love it.
And then probably 10 minutes later, from just completely dark, it just turned the other way, the opposite, to sun.
Mhm.
And I just started like laughing, like just
Yeah.
by myself. I don't know. I was probably going crazy a little bit, but it's
That's
just
awesome.
some kind of strange
Yeah.
joy in it that I felt. I just felt full, like I was alive, and
Yeah.
I was living in the moment.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I so would love to go out on this. There's a question that I want to, well, anyways, we'll get to that. We're running out of time here, okay? So I want to ask you each one more question if I could, okay? I know this is going fast, and you guys are used to slow paced, so you must be like, Freedom, slow down. We got like all day, but really.
like a bat out of Hades.
So, Joe, what's a big thing that you have taken away or learned or something from observing your father on this adventure together that maybe has tweaked something in your relationship?
I don't know. I mean, we've always spent a lot of time together
Mhm.
as I was growing up, and something about my dad's, I think, self-control, like in the way he deals with people and the way he lives his life, that I strive for as I, start to become a man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I idolize about my dad a lot.
That's awesome.
And
And you've been able to see some of that out on the trail
yeah.
through tough times, seeing how he manages it and handles it and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Dave, something you've observed about your son that, you've always been proud of your son. And I know you guys have always been close, and we've talked many times about our boys, right, as I am with Evan and my other guys too. Anything that you've observed about him out on this trail that really stands out, just is special?
Yeah, I think Joe has certain character traits that come very natural to him that are unnatural for me.
Mm-hmm.
Joe's very patient, and I admire that so much. He's patient with other people. He's more understanding than I am. And it really came out like for weeks and weeks and weeks, he's just walking slower than he should be.
Yeah.
Because he's got an old man with him. And never hear him complain, never is like frustrated, just kind of, even if he's walking ahead, he'll pause every once in a while, wait for me to catch up. And if he's walking behind, he's walking slower, and you don't hear a complaint from him. He's just enjoying the moment, which is another thing that I don't do very easily. I think Joe lives in the moment very well. So those are something that I observed.
Wow.
You know.
That's awesome. The time that you guys have been able to spend together, I'm very, I know it's not good to be jealous, but I'm jealous, you know? So, Ev, did I tell you I miss you?
Yes.
Okay. I miss you. So
I miss you too, Evan.
I miss you too, Joe.
Ev, you're not here to stop us, and we're at 21 minutes, so ha 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 on you. Usually he's pulling the cord on me.
No,
Ev,
I haven't given you the look.
I know. That's because you're not here, and I love it. So
I was just telling everyone how groovy you are, Evan.
Groovy. Yeah.
Nope.
I love it. Ev, is there any question that you wanted to ask of these guys before we call this episode to a close, bud?
No, but I have a question for you.
What's that?
When are we going to walk the Appalachian Trail?
Oh, my word.
There it is.
Based on Dave's experience, never. We might drive the country, though. I'd love to hit all 50 states with you by car. That'd be fantastic.
Hey, I'll do that.
You hit 14 on the Appalachian Trail. You could start with that.
We could start. Yeah. Send us postcards from each one, and we'll be like, we were there. So when you guys are all done with your trail hike, okay, there's a question that I want to ask you, and I'm going to tell you that question right now because I don't know if there's an answer to it, all right? But Evan and I, as you know, are big into relationships. That's part of the reason for our podcast is to help relationships grow deeper and things like that. And you guys have been able to go out and spend a lengthy period of time side by side going through tough and good times, right, which is really important for relationship building. There's a lot of fathers and sons that are back home, like myself, Evan, and other people here, that might be interested in getting deeper relationships with their parents and with their kids. And when you're all done with your hike, I'd love to know if you have some insight on things that I myself as a father, right, and other fathers can do with their kids to sort of touch on the things that you guys have been able to experience while on a trail. You know, I mean, we all know that we should share experiences and adventure together. That's very important. But not all of us can go hike the Great Wall in China, climb Mount Everest, or do the Appalachian Trail. Right. Notice I'm putting that in there because it's just as challenging. Okay? But I would love to know when you're all said and done, what can I do to not even reach where you guys are, but get closer to that? You know, what can I do with my kids to bond us even tighter like you've been able to do? So just a question. And when we're done in 2 months is when you finish?
2.5.
2.5?
Something like that.
I'd love to know some insight on what you think that parents and children can do together. Not that you're children, you are. By the way, you said a comment before, Joe, about becoming a man. I think you're there, brother. All right, at least in my book. So just saying that. But anyways, I thank you so much, guys, for calling and taking some time with Evan and I to get today. We are cheering you on like crazy back here. Everybody's talking about the great adventure you guys are on and excited for every blog post that comes out. We're going to put links to the blog post again in this podcast so people who, if they haven't seen it, can find it. And we really look forward to getting to spend some more time with you guys when you're done. So thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Good luck on the rest of your trip, all right?
All right.
Generation Viewpoint community, thank you for joining us one more time. And if you haven't checked out their blog, you have to get on there and read that. Joe is an excellent writer, and you can almost feel what it's like to be on the trail at some points in his writing and stuff like that. And root on these guys as they go for another 2.5 months and do something that a lot of us don't get the time or are scared to take the time to go and do. So have a great week. Great to be with you again. Later.
See ya.